Oh man, guess what? About a day after issuing her crazy mandate that all people setting foot in the House portion of the U.S. Capitol must wear face diapers, that any of those hoi polloi civilians transgressing her edict must be arrested, and that staff and Congress members, as she calls them, who break her edict should be reported to the Sergeant at Arms, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, yeah, you got it, she was caught breaking her own command. In the timeless words of Gomer Pyle,
surprise, surprise, surprise.
Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Yes, indeed, a day after issuing her bizarre mandate that people setting their unclean feet in the House portion of the U.S. Capitol have to wear their magic face diapers, that we hoi polloi civilians who might transgress her command should be arrested, and that staff and Congress members, I love the way she capitalizes that M to give it more gravitas, that those people who also transgress should be reported to the Sergeant at Arms. By the way, lefties, if you were watching, don't be triggered by that term arms, because of course those arms are in the hands of the government, so everything's totally peachy. Yeah, just around this time, guess what? House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was caught breaking her own command. Twice! Before noon on Friday, July 30th. Yep, Pelosi stepped out in grand style sans her mask in the Capitol. Now, folks in Texas likely caught word of one pre-noon breach on Friday the 30th when she swore in newly elected Congressman Jake Ellzey, Republican of Texas, whereupon she exhibited that classic Pelosi gall to not only use the Bible as a prop, but to photo pose with him and his family after suggesting that they all remove their magic masks. Then there was her House press conference, a gathering that curiously saw no sycophantic reporters, so-called, ask about why she wasn't abiding by her own diktat when introducing that paragon of leftist virtue, Steny Hoyer, the Democrat of Maryland.
Majority Leader of the House, Steny Hoyer.
Of course, we all know that if the pop press doesn't report on it or ask a question about it, it's clearly not a problem. This despite her calling House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, a moron for defying her orders. How moronic is it to oppose Pelosi's mandate, especially if a person like McCarthy is sworn to uphold the Constitution? And as I mentioned last week for MRC-TV, the Constitution expressly prohibits Pelosi creating arbitrary mandates that could be used to block representatives from entering the House to vote. Well, answers aren't forthcoming from Pelosi, and of course the agents of the government tasked with enforcing this, those being the Capitol Police, made matters worse by issuing a statement that doesn't question Herr Speaker. It merely offers an expectation that the underlings will all comply. As Samuel Chamberlain reports for the New York Post, quote, Capitol Police sought to defuse this situation by saying on Twitter that there was no reason it should ever come to someone being arrested. Anyone who does not follow the rules will be asked to wear a mask or leave the premises, end quote. Which, of course, is a statement full of falsehoods. People won't be asked, they'll be ordered to do one of two things: don a mask or leave. Those aren't options, those are commands. And if one should choose the third option of freedom, the one not offered by the cops, that will, to use the fatuous terminology of the police, come to someone being arrested, which is the enforcement power the cops always reserve. Do they think we're stupid? And does Pelosi think we're blind to her insufferable dance? This is a dance of self-importance reminiscent of her hypocritical breach of San Francisco's mask and lockdown edicts so that she could get into a salon, a breach she later blamed on what she called a setup, as part of an insulting non-mea culpa when she said she takes responsibility for falling for a setup.
It was clearly a setup.
I take responsibility for falling for a setup by a neighborhood salon that I've gone to for years.
It's akin to her "Do you know what I am" act when she was caught being dropped off at a no parking zone in San Francisco so she could go shoe shopping while her enormous SUV idled where members of the hoi polloi, that would be us, would have been cited for a parking violation. It's a dervish-like whirl of egotism similar to her January use of so-called gendered terms like wife and mother when they served her self-serving rhetoric, despite the fact that she and other leftists had just heralded her mandate to remove that kind of gendered, aka logical and correct language from House documents. It's all part and parcel to a larger track record of absolute disrespect and contempt for us and the hoi polloi and for her own constitutional oath. You know, none of us swore an oath to uphold that Constitution, but Pelosi did. The least she could do is actually respect her own words. It's kind of a sad statement, isn't it? To reflect on a person who operates that way in life? I don't know. Self-respect, Nancy. At least respect your own oath. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Rumble, welcome to Rumble, and thank you for coming over. Remember, everybody, if you haven't been to Rumble yet, all our videos are being loaded at Rumble. You can go there. You don't have to worry about censorship because, as you've probably seen over the past month and a half or so, You Know What Tube hasn't been too friendly to some of our videos. You can also find us at MRCTV.org anytime. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and on Twitter. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.